Hey everyone, this is Isaac.
And this is Jackie.
From Nonessential Media, and you are listening to the Beach City CROWS podcast. This podcast is all about our favorite cartoons, mine being Steven Universe.
And mine being Haikyuu.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Beach City CROWS. My name is Jackie.
My name's Isaac.
And we're doing another fan request episode. We're talking about more Haikyuu characters.
Specifically,
Middle
middle blockers.
Oh my god. So, when we think about middle blockers, typically we think of the tall ones, we think of Tsukishima and Kuro, but obviously our main character for Haikyuu, Hinata, is a middle blocker.
Your boy Hinata.
Yeah, my boy Hinata.
The sun. Isn't that weird? The sun and the moon are both middle blockers.
Oh, yeah. But it's also two different... See, Hinata and Tsukishima are two complete opposites, which is one of the things I really like about them. Hinata is, just from a looks perspective, obviously clear, but also from a personality perspective. Hinata lives for volleyball. Volleyball is his everything at the beginning of his development. That doesn't change. And he has to really work hard to get to where Tsukishima is. And then there's Tsukishima, where he starts out as it's just a club, and volleyball is just volleyball, and he's really not super into it. So it's kind of interesting how they kind of contrast each other, which has a lot to do with the sun and the moon.
Tsuki controls the tides, a.k.a. the game? No? What would you consider the tides? Characters?
Well,
Players.
Okay, if you're going to go that route, because you're really diving into this, everyone revolves around Hinata then, because he's the sun.
True.
So.
But, day and night cycle, half and half. I don't know what I'm trying to find something. I know there's something there, I just can't think of it.
Yeah, you're diving way too deep.
In too deep.
Let's start by talking about Tsukishima, who we both will openly admit when we first were introduced to Tsukishima, we didn't like him.
Hated him.
But his development, so when we talk about great development in Haikyuu, we always talk about Tadashi, who obviously has fantastic development as a volleyball player and as a man, but Tsukishima's up there too. Like, Tsukishima's development to me is some of the best character development I have ever seen.
Yeah, because I think his personality's always been that kind of aloofness. But you can definitely see that personality's still there, but he's also grown as a character. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
whereas Tadashi still, he's not really that shy anymore.
Yeah. But he's still Tadashi, and that's one thing I think. So a lot of people think that character development has to be the complete uprooting and redoing of a character, but the truth is that as human beings, we have certain aspects of our personality that we just carry with us for our entire life, and
unfortunately,
and Tsukishima's always going to be salty. Like, that's just what he is, you know.
Salty boy, beanpole.
But what a great development to go from not really caring about volleyball to now here we are. Spoiler alert: pro. He's a pro volleyball player. No one would have expected that.
He's pretty good.
Well, he's good, but
not
the
pro
passion.
Level. Passion.
We talked. Okay, so.
Yes.
Because Nishinoya had the passion too.
True.
So.
And what did we just find out?
You'll
have to read the manga.
Have to read the manga, guys. So I think that Tsukishima, whether he's not someone I would get along with in real life, obviously, but I think in terms of great character development, to go from being that asshole at the beginning, and it's interesting too is he is kind of an asshole, and he is a jerk, and it seems like he's, the way Kageyama has the king of the court attitude, Tsukishima too doesn't really care about winning.
Yeah.
He's not having fun, he doesn't care about winning, he's just there to do it. But there is something inside of him, a little spark already that loves volleyball. But you see him not just fall in love with volleyball, but really become an important teammate. Someone's been working too long when you're saying team member instead of teammate. He becomes a great teammate. Yeah. Which I think is the biggest part of his development in my mind. When you're first introduced to him and he's a bully.
Literally, yeah.
He's the first character that I would say I would have considered a bully. I thought that's what they were going to do with this character.
I did too. And then they kind of just left him to his own, which is, you find out that's literally Tsuki. He's just like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool how they did it, though, looking back now. They make you think he's going to be a bully, but then he's just kind of standoffish.
Yeah, exactly. He's
he doesn't need anyone, and I don't know how to put this. The team kind of needs him, but he doesn't feel like he really needs the team at first.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Until he learns to love it.
Yeah.
in season 3.
Yep.
Well, technically, the whole time he's learning to love it.
But that moment in season 3, like, come on, okay.
The rotoscope.
Crowning moment of badass. See, this is the one thing that every character has to have a crowning moment of badass. Tsukushima manages to have several in season 3. Like, that is his season. Hands down. That was Tsukushima versus Ushijima. Really.
Yeah.
And he was a badass. For me, that was the moment when I really started to appreciate who Tsukushima was as a character.
Yeah, Tsukushima is one of those top-tier middle blocker characters. And I feel like his personality matches what Furudate was going for, which is like the moon aspect of it, you know? You can't really have a character that's represented by a moon that is very out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you know, and obviously Hinata
is the opposite,
sun,
yeah.
And he's bright and cheerful, and everyone's drawn to him in orange. Everyone's drawn to Hinata, and people aren't really drawn to Tsukushima, you know? They're kind of pushed away a little bit by him, so...
Pushed and pulled.
Oh my gosh. But Hinata has the best development probably as a volleyball player. Because he goes from being a middle blocker that didn't know how to block, didn't know how to receive, didn't really know how to spike very well.
Didn't know how to do shit.
He could jump. He had a lot of energy and he could jump.
And run.
Well, yeah, he had the stamina. I said it right this time. Instead of the stamina. I mean, here we are, you know, chapter 380 and beyond, and he's professional. Which
is so weird to me. Like, I've only seen the anime. We've said that many times.
Yeah.
But from just seeing him in the anime, it's weird to picture him as a pro already.
Well, yeah,
but I know it's time skipped, obviously.
Yeah, of course. You know, it's quite a few years. He's in his 20s, so it's quite a few years. But and there's a lot that you have yet to see because Nationals, you know, I mean, you haven't even started season 4 yet, which is the ball boy arc, and you get to see him learn how to receive, really. I mean, it's interesting because another person who's shown in flashbacks that learned how to receive by being a ball boy was Daichi.
That's true.
And Daichi is one of the best, you know, overall well-rounded players on the team.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he is. He's kind of like that well-rounded, if he was like a character in Smash Bros. Like the stats would be all the same.
Yeah.
That's so, anyways.
So it's interesting that Hinata learns how to receive, you know, truly learns like the obviously also from observing a great libero, but truly learns the technique for receiving by being a ball boy, just as Daichi does, and then Hinata ends up becoming a great, well-rounded player as well, the more he develops. So, I don't know if that's foreshadowing or what, but, you know.
Maybe.
But, in Hinata, too, Hinata's a character who, his development as a character, I think, is a lot more subtle than people realize, because he's still Hinata. His personality is so strong. It's not going to change much, even as he matures. But you do see him, I think, learn how to observe more and kind of slow down a little bit. You know, he's never going to go full stop. That's not, just like someone like Bokuto is never going to go full stop.
Could that be something he learned or picked up from Hinata himself? From Kenma?
Yeah, it could be. I think Tsukushima's part of that too, because, you know, in the rivalry that those two have. I think a lot of people forget that there is an unspoken rivalry between Hinata and Tsukushima. Hinata sees Tsukushima as, you know, in a lot of ways the person he has to beat because they play the same position. And Tsukushima has what Hinata wishes he had, which is height and blocking power. And Tsukushima is too prideful to really kind of, you know, he wears his heart on his sleeve. He will go up to Tsukushima and say, you're my rival, I'm gonna try and beat you. You know, that's who he is. He's very upfront. And Tsukushima, he has a lot of pride, and that prevents him, I think, from being open and honest about his insecurities. And he's definitely insecure about his position being the same as Hinata's, because he looks at Hinata and knows Hinata is this ball of energy that he could never be, and is just loving volleyball more than life, and something that Tsukushima just can't see himself doing. And I think they kind of feed off each other a lot, for sure, without realizing it.
Yeah, that rivalry is, like, I think one of the strongest rivalries in the show, because it's so unspoken. But when it is spoken about, or when it does come to light, it's so aggressive.
Yeah, and it's at the center. It's the center point for a lot of development for both of them, especially Tsukishima. And I think that a good rivalry is one that you feel the tension rather than them having to tell you that there's tension. You know, with someone like Kageyama and Oikawa, like their rivalry is a little weird, but you know, it's so obvious and in your face. It's kind of like, I think Daichi and Kuro have a similar rivalry. Speaking of another middle blocker, Kuro, where it's there and you can sense it, but it's not something that they have to throw in your face because it's just so well done and so natural.
Yeah.
And that's definitely, to me, Hinata and Tsukishima's rivalry. Definitely something that if you've watched Haikyuu, read Haikyuu, and you didn't notice that rivalry, go back and look for it. And once you're gonna feel it once you start. And first of all, I don't know how you didn't notice it. You weren't paying attention, obviously.
Top 10 anime fails right there. If you didn't notice it.
But go back and appreciate it if you didn't appreciate it the first time. And it's something that even now, as adults, Tsukishima has little remarks to say as they're watching Hinata play. You know, Hinata is the one he's focused on. He's not focused on anything else, so.
Still,
get over it, Tsukishima.
Jeez,
gosh.
that pride is just, I mean, if it keeps him going, so, like, do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it is a little obnoxious. Let's be real.
And unhealthy. Like, very unhealthy.
A little unhealthy.
But, I mean, they're doing good in the manga, right? They're doing good in life.
Sure.
I guess you'll just have to read the manga.
Have to read the manga to find out. Oh, you have to see the way Daichi's holding a glass in the recent chapter. He's holding it like this.
Why?
Like a beer glass. I wish you guys could see this on the, because I'm leaving this in the podcast.
I feel like Futadata just like, sure. Was it towards one of the last pages?
No, it was like the first page. Yeah, it's colored and everything.
Maybe it was like his warm up.
He's like, okay, how would I not hold a glass like this? Another team that's really that has great middle blockers is Nekoma. Let's talk about Nekoma's middle blockers. It's so hard not to go Nekoma. Obviously,
PTSD.
The fan favorite being Kuro.
I thought it was Yamamoto's sister, but go on.
Yeah, Yamamoto's sister is the true middle blocker of Nekoma. They just throw her up. Just blocks the ball for them. What do you think about Kuro? We've never really had a chance to talk openly about Kuro.
We haven't really talked about him.
Because I think a lot of it is... I think Kuro's shining moment is Nationals. I mean, Land vs. Sky, if you've seen it, is alright, but if you get a chance to read the manga, please, 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 please do. Please read the Tokyo matches. They're so freaking good. And Kuro really has... I mean, Kuro's not the main guy, I would say, in those, but it's kind of opens up the door a little bit for Kuro. And then when you get to the Nekoma Karasuno match, that really opens up the door for Kuro. But as an anime only...
The only time I really remember him shining, pretty much the only time I ever remember seeing how he interacts was in season 2 during the training camp when Tsukishima would train with them. And I really like that version of Kuro because he's willing to give advice, even though they're rivals, quote unquote.
Yeah, I think that's one thing, just overall in Haikyuu, it's a very healthy, and the reality is if you are an athlete and you compete, that's really how you are. You don't want to be keeping the trade secrets to yourself. It's just not advancing the game, it's not advancing yourself. Because if you're playing against weak opponents, then you're not going to have a chance to test yourself. And there is, I think for Kuro too, is he sees himself as a mentor to a lot of people. And he sees himself as a mentor to Tsukishima and Lev and Hinata, and he takes pride in that.
Lev?
He takes pride in the fact that he is someone that they can look up to and that he can, it's almost like, it's a sense of pride that you can share your talent with someone else and your knowledge and your wisdom. And I really respect Kuro for that because it's not, Oikawa does it too for Kageyama, but I think what's interesting, the difference between the two of them.
There's a big difference.
The difference between the two of them is the reluctance that Oikawa has.
He's like almost like he doesn't want to do it, but he's like... Okay. Yeah,
Kuro is out there willingly giving advice. And I mean, you think about it, he gives advice to Tsukishima and Hinata, and, I mean, spoiler alert, luckily Isaac already knows this, Nekoma loses to Karasuno at Nationals at the Battle of the Garbage Dump.
Such a good game.
You an asshole. He decided to look up how all the matches were in the entire manga instead of just reading it. Read the manga. It's a masterpiece.
I don't know why I haven't yet.
I don't know. I have it. You want it? I'll just bring it.
Sure.
It's like gonna take up like this much space.
Oh my god.
It's, you know.
Now that I'm thinking about it, when I have something of knowledge that someone else is asking in my specific, like, I guess what I like to do, like my hobby, like drawing or something, I'm more than willing to give people advice on it. And I think you're the same way with writing.
Yeah, for sure.
As creatives, I feel like it's normal for that, but I guess I haven't really seen it from a like team player perspective.
Well, you didn't play sports.
True.
So just get that out of the way. Isaac doesn't play
Let's
sports.
just say the extent of my sports were PE,
yeah,
hockey.
See, and I sports is, I mean, like I was telling Isaac, I just finished playing baseball. It's like, before I came over and recorded this, like, sports is a huge part of my life. And you see it in sports. You see a lot of wanting to pass the knowledge on, to keep the game going forward. And
because if you don't, the game's not going to progress, I feel like.
Yeah, and you as a competitor, like, you want to compete against people that are at their peak. And I think Kuro is a competitor.
Major.
Yeah, Kuro loves volleyball. I think volleyball was kind of an escape for Kuro. I've said it before, if you gotta read the backstory for Kenma Kuro. It's so good. It's so touching. And I think, you know, something that he could share with Kenma outside of Metal Gear Solid and other video games. I think Metal Gear Solid's like one that is like specifically mentioned.
Yes.
Anyways, I love Metal Gear Solid. But it's, and anyone that's played sports can tell you that too. Like that's your haven. Just like for writing for you or drawing, or writing for me, drawing for you. It's your haven. You know, it's where you go to unwind, relax, and escape. And I think that's what it is for Kuro. I think it really is. You know, it's his happy place. Almost more than any other. You know, it's not something that's super like in your face, but I think, you know, there's other players in the show that really love volleyball, and volleyball's a huge part of them, but I think it's just something special for him, for Kuro.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I can't say I've ever seen him struggle, like, ever.
You know, and even when he does, he has a smile on his face, you know?
Yeah, he's, like, willing to advance.
Yeah, exactly.
And learn.
Which is why I think that it's, you know, it's such a special place for him. Everyone else gets really frustrated, and they show that. Kuro, even when he's frustrated, like, yeah, he'll be frustrated because that's human. He's human. He's not a real person, but you know, he's a well-written character, yeah. So he's good. You know, it makes sense. But there is this like sense of satisfaction that he gets to play volleyball.
Definitely.
So yeah, I guess you don't really. He's a really popular character with the fans. So I'm just curious. You know what?
I'll have to read the manga.
Yeah. Because
I'm not really, and I'll have to do a lot of things. I'm gonna have to rewatch. So like seasons 1 through 3 again. Just to kind of focus on different characters. Because that's something that I have been struggling with on this podcast.
Yeah, well, no, we've said this before, is that there's so much going on, and if you've only watched it once, it's a little hard.
Yeah, like there's so many characters, so many personalities, so many positions. You know?
Well, you just need to learn volleyball. He's like, we're all play volleyball together.
Oh, shout out to Shannon. She literally taught me everything I need to know about volleyball positions and how to serve and hit the ball.
It's kind of sad. Isaac is always telling me that he wants to go play volleyball with us. So I have like a little volleyball group that we have. We barbecue and play volleyball together. And he keeps saying he wants to go play volleyball with us, but he doesn't know how to play volleyball. He's like, I don't know what any of this is. Yeah, shout out to Shannon. That was really informative. I was telling him it's even helpful for me because we don't know what we play, like we call scrub volleyball. So
scrub.
Yeah. If you ever heard of like scrub baseball or scrub football. Okay. So Tadashi's technically a middle blocker, but I think that he needs to be reserved for a different, like a benchwarmer podcast. You know,
he's more of like a specialty.
Yeah. But Lev. So we'll stick with Nekoma. Lev. Let's talk about our boy Lev. First of all, isn't that your profile? Kind of like your profile picture.
It's the exact picture except for the like eyes.
Yeah. We both have Lev as our profile picture in Discord. So when we're first introduced to Lev, what is your first impression of him?
I was like, oh, where did the other guy go that was there for 10 seconds?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I guess this is his replacement. Really liked his character design. I was really curious to see his play style because he is super tall. I think one of the tallest people we've seen, besides like 6'7", might be the same height as like Tsukishima, or a little bit taller.
When he's first introduced, he's taller than Tsukishima. He's 6'4.5".
So that's pretty tall.
He's a tall boy. He's a tall boy.
But yeah, I was just wondering like how his play style would be, and I think Furudate knew people would be wondering that, so he kind of made him this, like, still learning type character. You know?
Yeah, Lev is fun because he is he's a lot like Hinata in terms of personality, and but the difference is that I think Hinata's compact.
Lev compact. Lev light.
Yeah, Lev light. He's Lev light. Lev is this like lean. He slumps over, so he looks even like lankier than he really is. You know, he's kind of got like he's like I don't know. Lev is definitely from a physical aspect is different than Hinata, and I think even at the beginning his skill level is a little less than Hinata's, which Hinata, like I said, is like someone who starts off a really kind of low level skill.
Yeah,
but I think Lev is even less experience.
Yeah, Lev is definitely less experienced than Hinata. Like, you can see that.
Yeah, 100%. You did get to see a lot of Lev's development because you obviously saw the training arc, which is when he's first introduced. A hilarious scene when Hinata is a little like dancing thing, and then he jumps up and hits his head 10 out of 10.
Yes.
Hilarious. First of all, and on his way to the bathroom, of course. Where else would he run into someone? You didn't read the manga, but you did get to see the stage play, and you did see Land vs. Sky.
Yes.
Which is a huge thing for Lev. Because
huge moment.
Lev is learning teamwork, and he's learning what it means to kind of... One thing I really like about Lev is he's so earnest. Like, he's straightforward.
That's the word, yes.
Yeah, you know, he's someone everyone would get along with Lev, I think. If you're not getting along with Lev, like, you're an asshole.
That word earnest, I haven't heard it used a lot, but, like, that's definitely Lev to a T, like, in one word.
You know, he's just a good guy, and he's very straightforward and sincere. And he doesn't want... What I like about Lev is he has a goal, and his goal is to be the ace for Nekoma. Like, he's very upfront about that. He tells everyone, I'm going to be the ace.
Yeah.
He also wants to be a good foundation for Nekoma, period. Like, he wants to be whatever Nekoma needs him to be, whatever, like, that's what he's going to be. He's going to be the cog that he needs to be.
Yeah.
And I think that he gets that great development in the Tokyo matches. And, of course, that moment where, you know, Yaku gets hurt and, you know, they send in the little bean to take his spot. And Lev has to... I mean, he doesn't have a lot of time to think things over and develop. He has to develop right away. He has to change as a person and as a volleyball player on the spot in order to help Nekoma succeed. And he does. It's really impressive.
It's kind of like an Inoshida moment.
It kind of is, yeah, for both of them. Definitely. They're both kind of thrown into the fire a little bit there. And Kuro has to step up. You know, kudos to Kuro. He's a good captain. And I think Kuro is underrated a little bit as a captain sometimes. Because you already have great captains. A lot of people are going to shoot me for this, but with Oikawa is a great captain. And Daichi, I think everyone agrees Daichi's a fantastic captain. So you're coming from two really good captains already in Miyagi. And then, you know, I think that you get to see what a good captain is with Kuro, too. Do
you think it's because Daichi and Oikawa are such good captains that Kuro may be overlooked a little?
I think it could be. I mean, I think the fans do a good job of appreciating who Kuro is, but they usually fail to talk about how he is as a captain, which is interesting. You know, when they talk about him as a captain, they'll talk about his friendship/rivalry that he has with Daichi, or with Bokuto, or with Daisho, so with other captains, but they don't actually talk about how he manages Nekoma very much. So fans appreciate Kuro as a captain, too. Don't just appreciate him as a middle blocker, or as a volleyball player, or whatever. Like, he is a good captain.
Yeah.
Nekoma makes it as far as they do. A lot of that has to do with Kuro as a captain. And his ability to instill, you know, he does it with Tsukushima, you know, the ability to instill confidence and instill drive in people. And I think one of the reasons why Lev, you know, yeah, he's an earnest guy, and I think one of the reasons why he does so good in Nekoma is because he has Kuro as a captain, for sure.
Yeah. I think Kuro is very understanding of Lev's position and, I guess, status within the team and play style.
Absolutely.
And even when Lev was getting harassed nonstop by his own team and other teams, he still pressed through, you know?
Yeah, Lev is interesting. Lev can get bullied and just kind of, like, he's so confident.
Brush it off.
He's so confident in himself. A confidence that you don't really see a lot. Like, he's
but then he slouches, so it's like, I don't know.
He's just big guy. He's
big.
Come on, he's almost 6.5 feet tall. Like, And he's growing still, and he's a lean guy. I mean, he's going to slouch a little bit. I'm slouching thinking about how much he's slouching, though.
I always slouch.
Shout out to his stage actor, who, like, just the way he carries himself on stage is Lev.
Literally. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. When I think of stage play characters, I think Lev and Oikawa are like the two closest to their character, like look-alike and feel and like just acting.
Lev is a great character, and I look forward to hearing and seeing more of Lev, hopefully, at some point.
The Bean Bowl.
The Bean Bowl. Let's swing back to Miyagi Prefecture, and let's talk about 6'2" Kendaichi. So if you guys haven't heard, I don't know if I've mentioned this on a podcast before, many months ago, millennia ago, one of the suggested follows that I had on Twitter was Kendaichi's stage actor. So I clicked on it and I was like, who is this? Not realizing who it was at first. And in his bio, he was talking about how he was 6'1" and something. And I'm like, who is this? And I was like, oh, I clicked on it, saw his face. I was like, that's Kendaichi's actor. Why is he bragging about being, like, Kendaichi's not even, he's really tall. I didn't realize, so I had to look up how tall Kendaichi was. Because I was like, normally they're really good about heights. And I saw that Kendaichi was 6'2", and it is like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I get on Discord and I have to message Isaac, and I'm like, Kendaichi is 6'2".
I think at this point I was like Onion Head, like Onion Top, whatever his name is.
Kendaichi is 6'2".
That is just mind blowing.
He's as tall as Ushijima.
No.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm not joking. Hold on, let's look this up. If you guys don't believe me,
I refuse.
So Ushijima is taller by like maybe half an inch.
6'3".
No, no.
No.
At the beginning, he is 6'2.6".
What a beefster.
6'2.5". So
no.
Yep, a tenth of an inch taller.
No.
Yep.
6'2" and a not
so
a half.
They are almost the exact weight difference. Ushijima has like 20 pounds on him, but Kendaichi's tall, guys. Like, shout out to Kendaichi.
Shout out to you for being so freaking tall, man.
Tall. Dude, but for real, when you look at him, you don't think he's that tall. I don't know what it is about his character design that makes me think.
Is everyone on Aoba Josai tall, or are the camera angles or like the animation just off?
I don't know. But
is it like that in the manga?
Yeah, he's 6 foot. Yeah, what do you mean it's like that in the manga? The manga and the anime are, same height. That's where they get the height.
Well, I'm saying because like the anime, at least for me, I never even noticed that he was like a tall guy.
I didn't either. Like I said, I had to see the stage play.
Literally get recommended.
6'2".
Yeah.
Which if you ever,
as far as play style, again, I haven't really seen anything of substance that I remember from Kendaichi, Kim Jong-un.
From Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un is a volleyball player.
I would love to see that. Trump and Kim Jong-un.
Dude, where is that? Oh my gosh. Hey guys, if you're listening, send me a fanfic.
Except it's a nuke.
It's a nuke?
Instead of a ball, it's like a nuke.
Oh my god.
A missile.
Kendaichi's interesting because a lot of his character is wrapped up in his animosity towards Kageyama.
That's right.
He kind of has to learn to let that go. I think Kendaichi is a typical high school boy, and he wants to hold on to that grudge a little bit, and he wants to get even. Because he sees who Kageyama was and how Kageyama treated the team as something that's, I get it as an athlete, it makes sense. It's betrayal. And he just really wants to throw down with Kageyama. But
that is something that Kageyama might not even cross his mind, which is so crazy about all these characters. Sorry, I'm about to get
no, you're
super
fine.
In depth. All these characters either have a past history or are having their own history within the show and the manga, right? Mm-hmm. Interactions. Each person, just like in real life, is going to perceive something a completely different way or similarly but different at the same time. So it's just crazy how you can have something that big between characters and maybe Kageyama doesn't even see it. And Kendaichi's still holding on to that grudge.
Yeah, Kageyama is, we talked about this in the last podcast, his social IQ is very low. He's dumb. Yeah. He's not dumb. Well, he is. He's stupid.
He's dummy thick.
I think someone like Kendaichi is, Kendaichi's very team-based. Kendaichi wants to, this is what's really, really good about Kendaichi, is you can see how he reacted to Kageyama's playstyle and Kageyama's attitude, and then as soon as he's under Oikawa, he flourishes. And that goes to show you how people under different play styles and different leadership types, how they react. Kendaichi's never going to be someone who's going to be successful under a Kageyama-type leader, but under someone like Oikawa, who is supportive but critical, instead of just, like, Kageyama's issue was that he was constantly critical, and Kendaichi didn't like that. He didn't like that Kageyama was critical of every little thing, like, oh, so you're so perfect, you must be the king, kind of an attitude. And then he goes to Oikawa, who is in his own way a king, because he's a setter, he's the conductor of the team, but he can do constructive feedback in a way that Kageyama, I don't know if Kageyama ever really gets to that point.
Yeah, I don't know.
To be as good at it as Oikawa was, and then a lot of that has to do with how much of a people person you are. And Kendaichi's someone who wants to be with people that are people, I think. That was really weird to say.
No, but I think it comes across the way you wanted it to.
Yeah.
I think there is, I mean, it's obvious probably to you because you have been in sports like your whole life, but is there some like a remedy to coming up with sports characters? Because you have characters or just people in general in sports, on sports teams, team players. You have personality and you have their game personality, their playing personality. So do those two mesh together?
When you're writing a character, okay, it doesn't have to just be sports. Think about any activity you've done with other people, so work.
Right.
So your work personality and your authentic self is different. And how you apply your personality at work is different than your authentic self. And the people that are the best at their job, or the best in sports, or the best at whatever they're doing, is they apply their authentic selves and their authentic personalities into the game. And I think you see that, okay, so this isn't a middle blocker character, but I think you see that with Kageyama, where his authentic self is a leader. And it is a very strict leader, and it is someone who's very critical. He becomes his best self when he's able to apply his authentic self to who he is as a setter. In the beginning, he's learning to not be so critical, but he is a critical person. That's just who he is.
Right.
And once he learns to remove that barrier and become his authentic self on the court, is when he becomes the best setter in Japan. Assuming he does, because Miya's the best setter at this point in their high school career, but obviously Kageyama became the number one setter in their professional life. But so it's learning how to apply your authentic self. So I think
characters like Oikawa.
I think Oikawa just is Oikawa.
Yeah.
He's he's like Sugawara. Both of them are very, very confident people. They know who they are. Like, it feels like they've already been through everything anyway, so they don't really care. Super extroverted. And I think you see that with, Oikawa. And someone like Kendaichi, I think Kendaichi's that way too. I think who Kendaichi is, it's who he is on and off the court. And he needed to be, and he wasn't going to change that for the sake of the team. He wasn't going to bow himself to Kageyama. Exactly. But once he was under a leader that meshed with his authentic self, he flourished for sure. Yeah. I'm trying to think of a character that it doesn't really, that's like kind of.
It's just it got me thinking, because like obviously it's in everything you do if you're not truly your authentic self in everything you do, but it just got me thinking specifically about sports teams. Mm-hmm. Because there is that sort of distancing between characters, and that could be because of personality and like, how they interact on the game versus in real life. Or not real life, out of the game.
So, can you throw this away for me? Because I was going to tuss it.
Tussy it.
But then I was like, Pop's going to go everywhere.
You're going to throw it in a tussy.
Throw it in a tussy. Asahi is someone who Asahi is off the court, and I think a lot of characters, when they run into him off the court, are shocked because they see him when he's playing volleyball and he's super aggressive, and when he's off the court he's a little shy. But part of that also has to do with, we'll go back to like Kuro. I think for Asahi, volleyball is a haven for him. It's scary when he fails, but once he knows that when he's on that court and he's with his team, like, that's a safe place at the end of the day. Yeah. I think for someone like Kendaichi, like, he doesn't need that safe space the same way that someone like Asahi does. No offense to Asahi. I love Asahi. He's cool. Or like Noya. So Noya is Noya. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who... Noya is a good example of someone who... It doesn't matter who his leader is compared to like Kendaichi. And it doesn't matter what kind of team he's on. And it doesn't matter if he's playing volleyball or not. He just is Nishinoya. Through and through. There is nothing in between.
Yeah.
And that never changes. But then someone like Kendaichi, I think he was holding back who he was under Kageyama because their personalities didn't mesh. Their true selves didn't mesh on the court, so they, Kendaichi wasn't able to fulfill his potential until he was under someone like Oikawa. And he became pro too. He went pro too.
Really?
Yeah, didn't he? Turnip head.
It's kind of like my head shape where when I...
He likes grilled corn.
Shape, it's just...
I love grilled corn too. All right.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Yeah, he plays for the Tamadan Elephants. Division 2. The other middle blocker for Aoba Josai is a character that you don't remember.
Matsukawa, is that the gay one?
He's one of the gay ones, yeah.
Maki and Matsune, right?
Maki and Matsune. His blocks are Hinata's least favorite, and if you remember from the second game against Aoba Josai, it was him who really kind of threw himself in front of Hinata's blocks, and I think he's underrated as a blocker. I think a lot of fans focus on him as the ship aspect, and he's part of the meme team, and if you're part of the fandom, you get all that stuff, but I think as a blocker, he's pretty good. I mean, he's up there. I'd be really curious to see how he would do under the tutelage of, like, Date Tech, to see if maybe he would have been elevated to an even higher level.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about that. Obviously, we don't know at the time of this recording what happened to him in his adult life, but...
Daytech's a very serious team, I feel like.
Daytech has a lot of middle blockers, too, and we should talk about Daytech before we run out of time. Obviously...
And Shiratorizawa.
We are going to get Shiratorizawa, yes. So, obviously, no brows.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on no brows?
Is just like...
This is a lot of just... chaos right here. Look at the chaos.
Wow, middle blockers are chaotic.
Dude, they are.
They're probably the most chaotic.
They kind of are. What the heck?
Yeah.
They really are. That's crazy.
Chaos.
What do you think of No Brows?
I don't really think much, and I think that has a lot to do with his personality and his play style. It's very, very, very stern and aggressive, but that's all it is,
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like he doesn't necessarily control things, but that people notice that he's not going to really... I guess he's not really malleable as a player, so they play to his play style. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
When he puts up a wall, they add on to it. It's never him really...
What's interesting about Daytech is it goes to show the importance of middle blockers. Before we really get into the development of Tsukushima and Hinata as blockers... because that's the first rival that we have.
That's right.
Like, yeah, we've seen them play Nekoma. We've seen them play, which is one of their rivals. We've seen them play Aoba Josai, which becomes their rival. But they already had this rivalry with Date Tech because of their blocks. So it really kind of cements the importance of good blocking right away. And Date Tech is good enough that in the next year they go on. They win the tournament. They go on to nationals. And I think that goes to show how important blocking is in the game of volleyball. And a lot of that has to do with No Brows and his ability to block. I mean, he's really, really good at it. And obviously his size plays a huge part into that. He reaches the peak of his jump. If him and Hinata jump at the same time and they're reaching the same height, it takes Hinata longer to get to that point.
Yeah, definitely.
So his height is part of that advantage, but, even though he's a quiet guy, he does understand volleyball very well, and he is a natural volleyball player. And I love his friendship with Hinata.
Yeah, it's just so, pure.
It is, yeah, and Hinata brings that out of people, and he's someone when you're first introduced to him, he feels really aggressive. Daytech in general feels like a bunch of delinquents.
Yeah.
They're very, you feel like them and Karasuno are just going to throw down one of these days.
There's even that scene when Karasuno's walking in and they turn around and Asahi's looking at or maybe it's Hinata looking at No Brows, and they're just these, this wall, literally, in their way, and they're like, oh, hey, I guess, this is the new Karasuno team, we're going to be facing you. Yeah, Date Tech is... I feel like they're the most serious team. There's not really any characters that kind of stand out other than, I forget his name, Anime Hair, and the Libero.
Standout. What do you mean by that?
Personality.
Oh, man, I don't know how you
Energy.
can't say Kenji on that because he's a little shithead. Like, Kenji is like...
I don't remember
is like
Kenji.
if Oikawa and Yahaba had a baby, like, that would be...
That's bad.
If I showed you a picture, you'd probably remember him. Hang on.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this guy starts fights.
Yeah, I remember him.
Like, fist fights and food fights.
Yeah, I just forgot about him. Yeah. He's literally... I mean, he looks like it, too. If Oikawa and Yahaba...
Oh, he does.
Same hairstyle as Yahaba.
He likes sour gummies, in case you're wondering.
Oh, we'd be best friends.
That's so funny.
I'm joining Date Tech.
You're like, I'm gonna share some sour gummies with this guy. And if you get an opportunity to watch season 4, you will see more Date Tech, and it's Date Tech's a great team, guys. Like, I think people forget about Date Tech
They're a
because
solid team.
People forget about them because they don't advance. You know, Karasuno beats them, and then Aoba Josai beats them in the second season. But they're a good, solid team, and they have great characters. And it's kind of unfortunate we don't get to see Hinata and Kageyama's second and third year in high school because then we could see more Date Tech. But I think that if you take a moment to just step back and appreciate them when they're there, they're a lot of fun. They're a fun team, and a lot of that has to do with the dynamic of having a captain who is a shit starter, and he's constantly walking around with no brows, who is quiet and very, he does things that are aggressive, like pointing at Asahi, but it's not like meant to be mean. It's almost like a sign of respect in a way, like that's the guy that I have. Yeah, exactly. And it's unfortunate that we don't get to see more of him, but great character overall, though, for sure. Yeah,
Date Tech's a really solid team, but like you said, I feel like they kind of, if for anime onlys, they kind of like fall back because of how quick the rivalry ended.
Yeah.
Between them in the first season. That was like their first real, I guess, match, I feel like.
It was, yeah. That was the first time, I think, if you're watching Haikyuu, I think the first time you feel fear for Karasuno is the game against Date Tech.
I cried when Asahi broke through the wall.
What a nerd.
What a nerd. I gotta go, guys. I'm gonna head out.
All right, bye. Another team with a great blocker that we all know and love.
Guest Monster.
Shira Torizawa.
The Pennywise lookalike. He's I think he's one of the most different in playstyle compared to all the rest of the middle blockers.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with the rest of the blocking, and they talk about a lot of blocking techniques, and it's usually like read blocking and stuff like that. And then Tendo is just like pure instinct.
Yeah.
It's very, and it works to his benefit in a lot of ways. I think Tendo is really observant. I think him and Tsukishima are really observant blockers. Tsukishima is that's part of his character, so it's something that's brought up consistently. I think Tendo, to me, it feels like he's watching everybody, and he's not just watching how they're playing, he's watching their personality. He's watching how they're reacting. And he uses that to... It doesn't, I don't know if maybe just in my opinion, it doesn't seem like he's, consciously making these decisions. It's just an instinct to him. It's just part of who he is.
No, that's what I get, too. Because it's like he makes these instinctual plays at, split second,
Yeah.
I think that's why it feels very instinctual.
Definitely.
To us.
And I think he's a huge part of Shira Torizawa's success. They lean on Ushijima to make their points, but how many points did they make off blocks, too?
Yeah.
Tendo's ability to turn defense into offense is very underrated. I would rather have to face Ushijima than Tendo.
Honestly.
Because Ushijima is pure strength and might. Tendo is, annoying.
This is the difference between those two is Ushijima, once you figure out how to somehow receive his...
Yeah, not that it's easy.
Not that it's easy, but once you figure it out, you got it down.
Yeah.
Tendo is always changing.
Yep.
Because he's instinctual. You never know where he's going to go.
Exactly. Yeah, I definitely feel that way too. Yeah, Tendo, and Tendo is a character that I didn't appreciate the first time because I was so hardcore rooting for Karasuno, and he's so annoying if you're not cheering for him. He's in the way. I'm like, no, stop being so good, that's frustrating. And then going back and being able to reread and rewatch and stuff, I really appreciate what Furudate did with Tendo, in that he's not what you would expect to be Ushijima's friend. He's not what you would expect. In his love for volleyball is second to none.
Would you? Because Ushijima doesn't really have any friends, and it's... I feel like... I mean, this was me in high school or throughout school. It's kind of the weird kids, quote-unquote weird. It's just the kids that are different, I guess.
Yeah, well, and in the difference, but they're so polar opposite. Like, Tendo is like a million miles a minute with the words. He won't shut up. He's asking questions. He's like too much. And then Ushijima is quiet. He's really quiet. But maybe that's good.
Eerily quiet.
Yeah, maybe they can just kind of like... But their friendship is great, though. I mean, I'm not a shipper, but Tendo, like, has a thing for Ushijima. Like, it's...
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's, like, reciprocated,
No.
but...
But yeah, I mean, their friendship is very, very strong.
Yeah.
And it's a huge part of the third season. It's a huge part of Shiratorizawa. It's a huge part of who Tendo is. And it's a huge part of who Ushijima is their friendship, for sure. But Tendo is, like I said, I think volleyball means more to him than anyone else in a lot of ways, because he doesn't have anything outside of volleyball. As part of his backstory was that, he was picked on and made fun of, but he could go play volleyball and he could just crush the people that bullied him and picked on him. And that's what made him, it's what turned him into who he is. So it's a very interesting backstory. Like Tsukishima has an interesting backstory. Not Tsukishima. Yeah, Tsukishima. Too many Ijimas here.
I know.
Has an interesting backstory in that, he also has this troubled past with his brother, and that affected his love for volleyball. It made him...
poisoned.
It poisoned his love for volleyball. While for Tendo, his love for volleyball is because of his past in a lot of ways. So, and of course they were, as much as it was Ushijima versus Tsukishima in season 3, it's also Tendo versus Tsukishima.
Yeah.
Like, there is they're stepping up, they step up each other's game. Like, they compete against each other, and they're making the other person better.
As you were talking about the instinctual part of Tendo, or the read blocks, I only now realize that Tsukishima, any team he plays against, he's, like, picking up on everything, because he is an observer, but then he, like, pulls through and copies them. So he's really I think, one of the better blockers, because he takes from everyone. And it's sort of like when we were talking about setters last week with Kenma, and how he has these different options that he can choose from, but he's just trying to have fun with it. I don't think Suki's really trying to have fun that much as he's just trying to, like, compete, I guess.
Yeah, that actually kind of makes sense.
But I feel like he's one of the better ones, just because he knows everything at this point, honestly. Like, he just picks up every blocker's play style.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially from Tendo. I think that was, like, the key for his character.
Yeah, it was just another drop that just sent him over the edge and made him even better, for sure. Being able to compete against something and observe.
Yeah.
Observation's huge. It's more important, I think. And it's not more important than practicing, but it's a huge part of developing as a player. And he's really good at it, so definitely. Who's your favorite middle blocker, though, if you had to pick one?
Probably Tendo, just because he is so different from any other, and it's so interesting to watch him play.
Yeah, definitely.
And how, like we were saying, instinct he is, And just, like, that split-second reaction, like, there's not many players that have that split-second reaction,
Yeah.
Like, Suki had to learn that. Hinata already kind of has that. But, again, Tendo is my favorite because he not only teaches Tsukishima, but Hinata how to be more of a better observer, which is insane because, like you were saying, observing is, like, one of the biggest parts of volleyball.
Definitely.
Who's yours?
Tsukishima.
I knew it.
Yeah. Tsukishima is... And I would not, if you would have asked me many, many years ago when I first got into Haikyuu, I would not have said Tsukishima, I don't think. It took watching him develop into a great teammate, and watching him learn to love volleyball was huge. Just his development is what made me really like him. But I also, when it comes to defense, I'm a firm believer that intelligence is the most important aspect of it. And Tsukishima is that intelligence.
He's very, like, strategic with it.
Yeah, definitely. Every move that he makes, every bit of energy that he exerts has to have a purpose. Okay,
coming full circle, I just realized Suki kind of does push and pull the tides. When you think about Tanaka in season 3, how Suki's using him to his advantage, and Tanaka doesn't even know.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's like this behind-the-scenes push and pull. And that's insane.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's what makes Tsukishima such an interesting character. And And like I said, his development was so great. And I mean, when you go from someone who was at this, it's a club, and then he dislocates his finger.
Goosebumps.
He dislocates his freaking finger, and all he can think about is, the pain's manageable. I have to get back out there. I just have to stop the bleeding. It's okay if it hurts, so I'm gonna be okay. I just gotta get, And
he's talking fast, like I just gotta get out there.
Yeah, and, that difference is just, it's mind blowing. It really is. So fantastic. I think it's fantastic. I think that I think Furudate knew what he was doing with Tsukishima and knew it from day one, and as readers and watchers, we just didn't get it until it happened, and then we were like blindsided in a lot of ways.
This is one thing I've noticed with Haikyuu is you can have your favorite character in any position on the court, but you can't deny who the true pros in that specific position are.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I think Kageyama, one of the best setters,
For sure.
And then Tsukishima's obviously the better blocker. Like, you can't deny that.
Yeah, I think, it's one thing we have to, take into consideration, too, is, they're first years in high school.
Exactly. They have way more ahead of them than anyone else.
They're only going to go up from where they start at. And the progression is very realistic in terms of their athletic development and their personality development.
And I feel like high school is such a short period of time, but such a pivotal moment for sports players in general.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Because each year, I feel like, is like a huge stepping stone, Like, they just it's like an exponential growth.
Definitely.
So, again, the fact that they're only first years is just insane.
It's mind-blowing. If you haven't watched Stage Plays, watch Stage Plays and watch Tsukishima's actor cry.
That's funny. Already coming out crying.
Yeah, he's crying
what
right
now. What a god.
And a good episode. Talking about middle blockers. Talking about our boy Hinata and Tsukishima, Tendo, Kuro, Lev, Kendaichi. 6'2". Thanks, guys, for listening. Let us know who your favorite middle blocker is.
Yeah.
Or who your least favorite middle blocker is.
And let us know why. We want to know why.
Yeah. We love talking to you guys. Keep in touch with us. My name's Jackie, and Tsukishima's my favorite middle blocker.
My name is Isaac, and I can't deny that Suki's really good, but my favorite is Tendo.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Hey guys, it's Jackie.
And Isaac.
From Nonessential Media.
We just want to thank you guys so much for listening, and if you'd like, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel or our Patreon.
And we want to hear from you guys. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you're watching along with us and what your thoughts are.
You can find us on Twitter at NonessentialM.
We're on Facebook as Nonessential Media.
We're also on Instagram at Nonessential Media.
Check out our website, nonessentialmedia.com.
So check us out.
Thanks again for listening. We truly appreciate every single one of you.
See you guys next Saturday for a new episode of Beach City CROWS. Bye. Skibbly babbly bap.